Today we're in a windstorm, and we're reporting to you about episode 312 of Chips, entitled Destruction Derby. This is the infamous episode where Ponch was racing on the Fear 250, the oval circuit. It was a great episode. Let's get right to it. Best line by Ponch. Right at the very end, after he flipped his car, he said, "I've got one question for you. You got a can opener for this thing?"
Yeah, that was a good one. I have down, he was talking to a girl, of course, and he said, sorry, well, if it isn't the velvet sledgehammer.
Yeah, that was mine as well. My, if it's not the velvet sledgehammer. That brings us to the best extra. I had the female race car driver and Bones Bateman. I had two of them.
I had the guy that was chewing the cigar, which he might have had a name, but I didn't really catch it.
I believe that was Bones Bateman.
Okay.
My favorite extra was the girl who blew Ponch's cover at the pit stop. She said, "Hey, Ponch, aren't you still a highway repairman?" He jumped in, a highway repairman. It's a very good way to cover it, Ponch. Best car that was wrecked. This is an easy one. Ponch's car. It sounded like it had engine troubles throughout the episode, but in the end, it ended up being flipped over.
I had the same thing, Ponch's Firebird or whatever kind of car it was.
I had actually his race car called Mike.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best car. That brings me to best chase music. That's kind of a hard one because there's so much chase music in this episode. And that brings me to the favorite off-duty moment. That'd be playing outdoor ping pong.
I also had that the weird tennis game that we are referring to as ping pong.
I didn't have any chase scene music, but I did have some good music. The scene where they're in the junkyard and there's a guy peering through the windows with binoculars, that was pretty good. I really enjoyed that one. But my favorite off-duty moment was playing handball on the tennis court. That was really enjoyable. Which brings us to the best on-duty moment. Well, there really was only one on-duty moment, and that was at the end where Gutierrez had his uniform on. Outside of that, there was no police work happening at all.
Well, I have to disagree with you. All of the undercover race car work, and are all my favorite on-duty moments because it was just really ridiculous that they were even doing that undercover work.
Yeah, I had being undercover as well as the main on-duty moment. And that brings us to the best deep thought by Baker.
Sure, I have something to add to that. The best deep thought wasn't really much of a deep thought, but it was the fact that Baker called his old friend Chet Jeff, and the editors or whoever the people are who make this film decided not to even edit that out and reshoot it. They just left it in there. And if he was such a good friend of Baker's, he should have known his name. Money spent on wrecking cars. Well, I didn't count any of the wrecks during the car races because it seemed like a lot of stock footage, and I don't know how much of that they actually used for this purpose only. So I know Ponch bought his car for $83, so I had $83 down once he flipped it over, but then he mentioned that he put $1,000 into it. And so I'm guessing that the total was $1,083.
That sounds good. I'll go with that, too.
I had $7.
Let's see. The next category is the scene with the tightest pants. I'm going to go with, they're playing the ping pong tennis game. There's a lot of short and tight pants.
Yeah, I agree. The tennis ball, ping pong, handball game was the best. Uh-oh. Yeah, almost got pulled over. Just talking about chips. Let's see here. Yeah, the tightest pants were definitely in that handball, tennis ball, ping pong ball game. The most ridiculous line, even for chip standards, was after Ponch wrecked his car, or actually Baker wrecked his car, and Sarge went over there and said, "Not to mention, this car saved your life. Was it worth it?" It was kind of like he was acting like his dad, like, Ponch really didn't care about his car.
What category are we on now?
Oh, that was the most ridiculous line.
Oh, I didn't have anything.
I had, if you want a rolling migraine, go right ahead. Referring to probably getting a headache. That brings us to the favorite character name. I had Bones Bateman by landslide.
Yeah, Bones Bateman as well. That was a great name, and he was such a great character. Best stock footage scene, I put down the 3-hour race at the beginning. all the way to the intro and about up to the first commercial after the intro was all a stock car race. That was all stock footage.
Lots of stock footage.
Yep, car racing. That brings us to the scene that should be best left out. Is that what we're on? The monotonous car racing that just never, ever ended.
Yeah, it did never end. I also had when they're playing tennis, it really didn't. We didn't need to see that. Or when they had the meeting running on the beach. I don't understand why they couldn't have had a meeting at work at all.
Well, those are very good. I agree with both of you. I had down 2 of them. All the race car driving was pretty pointless, and that ping pong, handball, tennis ball match was absolutely ridiculous. Scene that represented the year the episode was filmed, I put square dancing at the pit stop. I'm not sure that anybody actually ever did square dancing like that even back then, but I'm sure if they did, it's been long since forgotten about. And if you go to a cowboy bar nowadays, you don't see people dancing like that.
I had an AJ Foyt reference, and he hasn't raced for 30 years.
Okay, and next is the best villain, and I had cocaine for that because they were always looking for this cocaine, and it was really the whole point of the entire episode, but they kind of just forget about it in the end, really.
I had Bones Bateman. He was such a good villain. He had left his trademark cigar in the hood of Baker's engine, and that was a really good move. Did you do best villain?
Drug dealers. I had drug dealers. I had the drug dealers.
That we never really saw. See, Ponch demonstrated he's an expert at. I put down getting out of an exploding car because he did that very well.
I put car racing or demo derby and being undercover.
I had being undercover and being a pro race car driver. That brings us to our favorite Grozy moment. I had playing outdoor ping pong.
Yeah, I also had playing outdoor ping pong. And as he was playing outdoor ping pong, he was yelling at the Sarge, telling him that the cocaine trafficking was going up and that they needed to do something about that. And I thought that was really funny, Grozy trying to be the boss. That's kind of the end of our form here. I had a few extra creative notes. At the beginning, when Baker was taking pictures, hidden pictures of that guy's engine, he was using that crazy camera that the KGB gave him. I thought that was pretty interesting. And the other thing that was interesting was the race car that Ponch was driving was a state-owned vehicle that had its doors welded shut, all the windows taken out, but Cotrere was a little worried that it was getting dented. So I thought that was kind of strange that he was worried about that. So I think that kind of does it for episode 312, Destruction Derby, the Fear 250 race. I think, do you guys have anything else to add? Okay, and we'd like to thank the sheriff for not shutting down this production. And next time we'll get a permit. Thank you.
Which flag? Come on, Spike, let's go.